Welcome to the kingdom. I'm Chris, and this is Good Enough Gaming. Howdy folks, and welcome to the month in review for November. We're going to take a look at painting contest entries, news, events, and happenings in the world of OnePageRules. So as always, let's dive in and start off with the submissions to the monthly painting competition. So starting off in the solo category, and apologies to everyone when I inevitably butcher your names. So Anthony Deligian has painted up a really clean model here, and look at the subtle details. For example, the dust on the boots, the heat scorch marks on the gun, and everything is nice and clean, crisp, and sharp. Nice job there. David D has painted up a mummified undead hero, and I always like purple on the mummified undead. First, the bone color and the purple really complement each other really well. But since purple's the color of royalty, it just seems to fit, you know? So nice job here as well. Moving on, Eric53 has also painted the same entry as the first one, and again, very sharp, very, very crisp. Slight different variation in colors here, but this still looks really, really solid. You got that nice blue base color, and then the leather looks really good, and little accents here of red just to mix things up a little bit. Gislin has given us quite a feast for the eyes. Super duper colorful here. We got the green skin, purple cloth, orange cloak, metal gun. So very, very, very rainbow, bold. Like there's lots to look at here. Excellent job on the base too, adding lots of texture and bushes and stuff to give it some depth. And also, if you look really closely, big kudos for the lenses on the eye goggles. I believe I can see about 2 or 3 different layers or colors of paints on there to really give them the illusion that they're glass and rounded. So kudos to you there. GM Pulse has painted a dwarf, and I always like my dwarves. So I think the photo is maybe a little overexposed. It looks a little brighter and paler than I think it's intended. But from what I can see here, you got a very, very nice looking leather with the blue trim. Excellent job on making the stone. Everything looks very muted. I mean, unlike the goblin we just saw, this one, these are dwarves. They're underground. They're not going to be a lot of bright colors, although it doesn't mean they can't be. So good job to GM Pulse here, painting a very dwarf-looking dwarf. And in complete contrast to what I just said, Jaco Cipolla has given us a very colorful dwarf, but, if you'll notice, the boldest color comes not from the dwarf, but from the stones. Really nice job painting those. Instead of looking like plain rocks, they're gemstones. And if you look closely at them, you can see how much paint and layering and detail and highlighting had to be done to make them look like they're translucent. So excellent job to Jaco here, giving him that specific effect. I mean, the dwarf looks great, but I really love the way that he did those crystals. Very well done there. Mini painters. Ooh, I believe this one is going to place, if not be first place. Look how sharp, bold, and highlighted this is. This is an outstanding paint job here. Just on the cloaks alone, you can see how to get the illusion of depth, how we go from a super dark red to a super bright yellowy orange. Everything, the skin, the cloth, fantastic job. It's almost comic book the way that it's been painted here. And of course on the gun there, excellent job of doing, I don't know if that's exactly object source lighting, but you get the idea. It looks fantastic. So excellent job on this one. Mitchell Bound, we got another dwarf here, going back again with the more stereotypical look of dwarves, very kind of rustic, dirty, underground, but still there's bold colors to look at here. For example, I always think dwarves look fantastic with white beards. So excellent job here. It just gives them that look that they're old, grizzled, but at the same time they're very wizened. So really nice. I like it. And yet we have more dwarves. Oh, we've got a combination here. Look at the job on painting the green crystal. The way they add that Nathan here has added darker colors near the top before switching at the sharpened points of the crystal to lighter color to really give it that feeling that you're looking through ice or through crystal or through a gemstone or something like that. Like that's the first thing I notice when I look at that. The next thing is the super bright beard. And then everything else really nicely highlighted. You can look along the edges of the shield and especially the hammer. A lot of care was taken to highlight every single inch. But I'm still really, really impressed with those gemstones. That is fantastic. So it looks like that's it for the solo category. Let's go take a look at the unit entries. Heading on over to the unit entries. The first one up is Andre Partin. And I really appreciate what Andre's done here by including 2 pictures of both the front and the back. I know quite often when I paint models, I'll actually spend a lot of time on the front and not much on the back because I know during the game no one's going to see the back but me. It's my side of the board. So interesting job here doing very, very dominantly metallic theme, but then adding little bits of color with like the vines growing on them, the face sticking out the viewport there, and then the really bold yellow cloth. And then, of course, really cool job on the bases with the bright purple dirt and then the bright blue flora, not fauna. There's no animals. I get it. So really cool here. Very, very eye-catching. A great mix of metallic paint and then colors at the same time. And here, Big Papa Tacos, here's a regular that we usually see in the entries here, has gone the exact opposite. Instead of very, very colorful, this is a fantastic job of just grunge, dirty, rusty, used. This is really cool. Whenever I try and get a paint job to look like this, what it usually ends up with is just very, very brown. It doesn't look rusty and used. This looks like the model was actually made out of metal, and Big Papa Tacos left it in a bucket of water for 6 months and then got it out and painted the flames. So I really appreciate this kind of paint scheme where you go for super grungy and then you have one thing that's your major highlight. So in this case, you got the puff of smoke or flame coming out of the weapon there, but everything else just very dirty, grungy in the background, very grimdark to use the phrase. But I love it when there's then that one piece of either like a marking or a face or a symbol for the army or something that's super, super bright to really draw your eyes and attention. So this one would get my vote for top 3 at the very least. Dr. Zamf, same model, totally different scheme. Instead of grungy, we've gone for very bright, very solid colors. Again, more like cartoon, and I don't mean that as an insult. I mean, when you watch a cartoon, every part of the images, the animations are a solid, flat color. And so that's just the first reaction I get here. So we've got the walker and then the goblins all surrounding it. And like with the solo entry on the goblins, excellent job by painting the lenses. It's always the little details like that that really make models look alive. So nice job to Dr. Zamf. Next off, we've got Gotcha Man, who's painted yet another squad. And it looks like some kit bashing. As far as I know, I didn't think that the goblins came with the little statue on top. Maybe that is part of the STL, but I haven't looked a lot at the reclaimers because personally I don't plan on ever collecting one myself. But everything from those little touches, you got the birds all over the statue, you've got lots and lots of character on the bases. You got dust, you got road lines painted, dirt, rocks. Like this looks like a very, very realistic looking type of a design here. Not going for cartoon like the previous one. This one's meant to be more realistic. But at the same time, it's still very colorful. I like that each model is a different color. So it gives them some character while at the same time being part of a uniform, a unit, a squad. So really cool job there. Lots of little details. It's almost like playing Where's Waldo to look at everything that's included on these. Then we have Party Bear Minis. This is another regular that we see a lot in these entries. They've gone for, obviously, a very, very solid major color. I mean, 95% of these minis are yellow, painted to look grungy, and that's not easy to do. To make yellow look like it's supposed to be yellow but has been worn and dirtied over time, you can't just paint over wash and make it look good. That doesn't work. But notice how much attention has been given to the bases. Not just texture paint, but Party Bear here has painted in water and then highlighted it so that it has flow and current and little ripples and waves. Look at the attention given to the mushrooms. Again, I can see at least 3 coats or layers of paint to make the mushrooms look 3-dimensional and look very alien with how they go from a dark red or purple or that kind of maroon to a super bright pink on the edges and then the bright tufts. So it's almost like the intent was to make the bases have more character, more detail, but I'm not trying to say that the minis themselves are painted in a hurry or something like that. So it's a very interesting contrast. Super bright models on even brighter and more accented bases. So really nice job with Party Bear Minis. And that will bring us to the end of the unit submissions. Let's go take a look at the legendaries. And here for the legendaries, we only have 2 entries. But if any of you have ever tried painting a legendary, I've done one. I did the Skeleton Titan for the Mummified Undead, and I'm currently working on a Butcher Titan for the Vampiric Undead. They're big models. And if you only have a month to print, paint, and get these submitted, that's a lot of work. So kudos to the 2 people who contributed here, KY Tucker or Kai Tucker, and then the other who we'll see in just a second, because this is a big undertaking. Even with a month, that's a lot of time, but you're still asking quite a bit. And this isn't just a model, this is almost a diorama. I mean, look alone, just keep this in mind, folks. Look at this. In this model, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4 dwarves that are just kind of standing on the deck of the ship. There's another one in the copter here. So they put in the amount of work on one of those models that is in one of the solo entries. So to turn one of these into the competition is the equivalent of doing an entire solo and a unit and then a Titanic model on top of that. So it's almost like doing all 3 entries in one. So as far as the design of this model, I was always a little kind of torn on it. Like it's cool. It's an aircraft carrier. It's like a dwarf flying aircraft carrier, which is a really good idea. Not totally sold on the design. Like no shade on the painters here. The design isn't maybe the most asbestos ever. I have a Sky Dwarf army. I would love to put something like this in it, but I'm not totally sold on it yet. However, Kai here has done a really nice job. Lots and lots of wood, but then mixing it with the metal and still having some accents of color. Do have to point out, not meaning to be picky here, but he got a lot of rope that's unpainted, and the rudder on the very back, there's a lot of metal that's unpainted as well. So I want to give you some leeway, because this is a busy model. Excellent job on the gyrocopter and on the dwarves themselves, but there are some details that were missed or left out. So you can see this front right pillar, the little joint parts are painted metallic, but then on the back pillar, they are unfortunately left untouched. So kudos, but when you submit, make sure you get at least the basics there. And then for Huge Kid, very different take on it. Instead of blue, we got lots of red. Same thing. We've got 4 or 5 dwarves on deck. We've got the gyrocopter. Looks like they've added a few other accoutrements, if you will. But both of these are really, really daunting models to paint. So, again, nice job. Kudos to anyone who takes on a model this big. When I was painting that Skeleton Titan, most of it's bone. Like, that's not hard. You spray it beige and you paint it a brown wash, and over half the work is done. This one, yeah, there's a lot of wood on there, but then you've got to go detail all those metal panels and the rigging and the all that stuff. So even if there are pieces missing, and this one, it looks like he got most of them, although some of the rope still, again, looks like it got missed. You did it on the railing here where the counterweights are, but then on the pillars, the ropes weren't painted there. So again, cut them slack. This is a big, busy model, but at the same time, if you're going to submit one of these big Titanic models, you should paint most of the major accents. You don't have to paint the grains on every single piece of wood, but there's a lot of rigging here that's blending in, and it should be sticking out a little bit more. Okay, so that's it for the painting competition. Which one do you guys think is the best according to you? Which ones do you think are going to win? That's it for the painting. Let's now head over to news, events, and things that are coming down the pike. Our first item of business is the release of Moonmire's Proving Grounds, the mission pack for Age of Fantasy. I have thoroughly enjoyed the mission pack for Assault on Malhadra, which is Grimdark Future Firefight, and so far I've been more happy than not with the missions for the full-size Grimdark Future mission pack, though the name eludes me right now. I'm getting old. Anyways, so I purchased this one. I'm hoping to start filming bat reps, testing out the different missions, and so those should be appearing on the channel within the next few weeks. With the Christmas season coming up, they may not show up until the new year, but do stay tuned, because eventually I will start posting them so you can see how the missions actually work. So, as with all the other ones, you get a whole bunch of really fun, narrative, story-driven missions. Some of them might be a little bit unbalanced, but that's kind of the point of these narrative missions. If everything's balanced, that's playing chess. That's not telling a story. And as with many of the other mission packs, there are 4 factions that are kind of at the heart of this particular mission pack. So we have the Mummified Undead, you have the Ratmen, you have the Lust Demons, and then I believe the 4th one is Beastmen. So if any of you are interested in starting to collect those armies, or if you have those and haven't put them out on the table, here's your chance to test them out. And even if you don't have any of those armies, you can still play the missions in the mission pack without them. The missions are designed to be more or less, not neutral, but, agnostic, which makes sense for OPR. There is a cool feature, though, that I noticed looking through the book, which I'm impressed that they put this in here. On one of the pages is a flowchart for how to use the missions. When I played Assault on Malhadra, there were 18 missions, and I basically just conquer method. Do mission 1, 2, 3, 4, and power through all of them. And to be honest, while I enjoyed most of them, overwhelming majority of them individually, after a while it did start to feel kind of like, oh my gosh, I still have 6 more. I've done 12 and I have 6 more. Whereas in this mission pack, it's giving you a chart where you play mission 1, and then depending how that mission goes, or depending on what kind of path you want to take your campaign, it directs you to other missions. And then how that mission goes, it directs you to others. So there's this like web or flowchart of how to do not all the missions, but to do enough to have a good solid campaign with, it looks like about 7 missions or so. But then you can go back and play again, start a new campaign, different characters, different armies, different teams, and still be enjoying new missions that you haven't played before. So I think that's a really good idea. It also allows you to kind of chain the missions so that if one side wins in mission 1, then the next mission is built so that the winner will naturally be the attacker in mission 2, or will have some kind of advantage, or the narrative flows from mission to mission. And that, I think, is a really cool feature if you want to do campaigns. So the Malhadra, I don't think it had that. If it did, I must have missed that page. But I'm showcasing it here so you can see that they have it for Moonmire's Proving Grounds. So this is now out. If you're interested, you can go and purchase it. You can just get the book of missions. It's like, I think, $7 to $10 for 18 missions. Is definitely worth it. Now, this next item isn't exactly new and unique and specific to the month of November, but it is a part of the news that was released in November, so we'll cover it here. And that is building on the Game Found campaign for Broken Truth that took place previous month. They're pushing really hard now, OPR is, to create kits and starter sets to sell in brick and mortar stores. I know one of the things a lot of people have said on Reddit threads and in comments of videos and things that OPR suffers from, why it hasn't grown as fast as it has, is it has no physical store presence. That the only way people learn anything about it is from word of mouth. And then because so many folks are using models primarily from Warhammer games to play OPR, even when they're playing in a local gaming store, nobody recognizes that this is a different game. They'll walk up and say, oh, you're playing 40K? No, we're actually playing OPR. So now that the Broken Truth is going to be selling starter armies, box sets in physical stores, hopefully that will help get the game itself and the community to grow that much faster, because now there'll be the specific models out there. There'll be a way for if someone's interested to buy into it really fast. So big hopes that this goes places. So if you have a local gaming store near you, you can head to the OPR website and they have some information on how you can possibly get your store to start carrying OnePageRules stuff. Next item was a bit of a surprise, at least for me. OnePageRules held its second Mission Jam. Maybe they're planning on doing 2 of them a year, but I thought it would be just a once-a-year thing. But the second Mission Jam was held in November. I did submit a mission to this one, and just like the first one, I didn't even place in the top 3, so oh well, c'est la vie. Anyways, one thing I did notice, and maybe it's just when I checked to see the submissions, there weren't nearly as many. With the first Mission Jam, there were a lot of submissions. In order to participate in the Mission Jam, you submit one, and then you're required to review, it's like 10 other submissions. And if you don't review 10 others, they disqualify you. Or they just want to make sure that you're giving and getting. You're participating both as a judge and a rater, not simply submitting something and saying, all right, I'm done. But I noticed this time, I almost, to get my 10 for the second Mission Jam, 10 reviews, that almost covered all the other submissions. So I'm not sure how to take that as good or bad. Either it means people are starting to realize this is a little more serious of a competition, and so fewer people are participating, or it also could mean people were discouraged at the results in the first one. They didn't win. They put forth their best and didn't even place, and so they didn't even bother to try. So there weren't as many. I don't even think there were maybe 12 or 13 submissions total, whereas previously there were between 20 and 30. So we'll have to see. One thing that I was a bit surprised is both of the three winners, they were all Age of Fantasy, and two of them were Age of Fantasy Skirmish, and then third place, I believe, was a Regiments game. And while, okay, if we're going to go strictly with ratings, that's great, but why not have more variety from the different games? There were some people who submitted Warfleets games. There's some people who submitted for Future, Skirmish, Firefight. Like there's 5 and even quests. So technically there's about 7 different games you can submit to. And if the winning podium is all from one lore, and then of those 3, 2 are from the same game, that just seems, not wrong isn't the right word, but it seems there should be more winners from more games. So maybe in future, if this is a trend that continues, maybe OnePageRules will say, okay, we need to break it up to submit to the Age of Fantasy, submit to Grimdark Future, or just make sure that the winners aren't all from the same lore or the same game. I would like to see that, but since I'm not in charge, I'm not expecting anything. Next item of business is a new STL creator has joined the compatibility program, which means they have crafted models that either specifically match an existing OnePageRules army, or they have created an entire line of their own miniatures and then created an army list that is compatible with OPR and what's the word I'm looking for? Like it's compliant with the Force organization, that they built an army book inside the Army Forge so that it's a legitimate, based, and balanced game. So this first one here is Ronin Arts Workshop. Now, normally I like to go to their My Mini Factory and we take a look at some of their models, but I did, and they're not safe for work. So I'm not going to show them here. What we will do is highlight the 3 that are on the OPR page. Now, obviously, there's a bit of finagling going on here because that's not what an STL is going to look like once you print it. I like looking at the STL files in gray so you can see them without the professional painting and shading and details. Still, this looks really amazing. If anyone has any undead armies or oh god, boy, my age and my memory is really starting to show. But if you play any faction that is very dark, very shadowy, this would be a really cool model to have with it. We also got here, looks like a luchador with a flaming sword. Now that's quite a combination going on here. But these are really detailed. And if you could paint them to look even a tenth as this cool, you'll have some really good looking models. And then the last one here, again, you can see from looking at this one why I can't go to their main page, because this is probably one of the tamer models that's on their line here. The rest of them I can't show because there might be children watching this video. Now, I will say that when I went to their My Mini Factory page, they do have some really nice Ninja Turtle models. I had to go and buy from a producer, I think over in Italy, to get the ones I used for that battle report that I filmed several months ago with the Ninja Turtles. These guys, Ronin Arts Workshop here, has some Ninja Turtles. They're a little cartoony, but they still look really, really good. So if these pictures that I've just shown here look interesting to you and you want to check out the rest of their stuff, maybe they have some models that would fit nicely with your next upcoming project. Just be aware that, 18 plus for some of the links they have. Now, the other big item to talk about is the hotfix for version 3.5.1, but since a lot of those changes were pretty minor, there were a lot, but there was nothing huge, I don't want to spend time here going over all of them. Instead, if you're interested, you can head back to the OPR website and they have it broken down, all the specific rules, all the specific faction changes, and you'll see there's changes. It's not like nothing has changed, but I don't think it's worth devoting a whole lot of time here in this video. So that then brings us to the end of the month in review for November, and already looking at some of the things in December, we're going to have some interesting stuff to talk about, but that's for another month. So until then, thanks for listening, thanks for watching, keep your dice on the table.